When it is coloring time, don't be weird. Be original. You're not a clone, are you? But don't be weird. Try. Say thank you when Mrs. Post hands out the coloring pages, even if she doesn't look at you. What is the picture? Okay, it's a cookie. Judging from the chunky morsels in it, it's probably supposed to be a chocolate chip cookie. But think. You're already handy in the kitchen. You have quite the culinary background. Aunt Jemima pancakes when you were 4. The true Aunt Jemima mixed required an egg, milk, shortening, and a personal stamp, like vanillin or cinnamon. Your favorite part was pouring in the melted butter. At first, Mother did the pouring, and you leaned over the bowl to smell the aromas. But soon you were manhandling the heavy hot griddle by yourself. Mixing the batter with a large spoon, ladling it onto the sizzling surface, then flipping the pancake, the trickiest part of the procedure. Don't mind Sue Ellen, Gracie, and all the others when they accuse you of being a big shot. Feel sorry for them, even. They don't know what you know. And you know the Easy Bake Oven is a sham. You know you're a wicked cook. But you also know your hands aren't good for much else. You still can't tie your shoes, like Missy and Dominique can, much less lace them. You know not to take any milk at snack break, since you can't open the carton without help. You can't use a pair of scissors, and you can't draw a proper number 8. You found a way around the 8, though. You are clumsy, not stupid. Draw 2 stacked circles and put a 7 behind the stack and a 9 in front. Mrs. Post can't read anything but an 8. Remember those tests in the principal's office when Mr. Levito said you belonged in the 2nd grade, not the 1st? Mother and Dad didn't agree, though. They said your poor, fine motor control, along with your shyness, meant that you should start a new school in the 1st grade. You wondered how something could be poor and fine at the same time. Now the class you are in is a reading readiness 1st grade. Here you are already an avid reader. It goes back to nursery school days, outdoor recess, sneaking back inside the building to eavesdrop on your cousin's kindergarten class. His teacher always read stories, and the kids got to read them too. In your soft-lit classroom, all you did was watch Romper Room, learn colors, numbers, shapes, checkers, hopscotch, manners, and how to play pound Play-Doh. You weren't so good with the Play-Doh, and now you know why. This poor, fine motor thing. So here's the cookie coloring in front of you. Everyone is rushing the Crayola 64 box and taking the brown crayons. But wait, it might be that this isn't a chocolate chip cookie at all. Recipes can make anything. Decide your cookie will be a strawberry one and color the picture pink with dark red chips. You sort of know that this corrupt move will not sit well with Mrs. Post. She roams the room, reviewing every child's coloring, showering praises over each small shoulder. When she reaches you, parts of her face have erased. What's this? She asks. What is this, Lyzette? A cookie. What sort of cookie? A strawberry cookie. Raise your voice. Good. Where have you ever seen a strawberry chocolate chip cookie? You have never seen or even heard of a strawberry chip cookie, but your kitchen background tells you that, surrounded by fun, friendly skillets, pots, measuring cups, bowls, and flour and butter, you and Mother could pull your whims and bake one. Mrs. Post throws her hands in the air. Why didn't you color a chocolate chip cookie like everyone else? Mrs. Post's voice is higher than usual, which is curious, but you can't puzzle that out now. Tell her why you haven't made a Keebler clone. Because the paper doesn't say what type of cookie it is. Mrs. Post holds your paper up to the class. Look at what Lyzette colored. She made a strawberry chip cookie, which isn't even a real cookie. Your cheeks flame as the class erupts in laughter. Saliva pools in your mouth because your throat closes. For God's sake, don't let it drool out. Mrs. Post slaps your paper on your desk. Come on, Lyzette, you know better. Try to follow the assignment next time. So now you know coloring pictures of food is not your area of strength. But here is another one, the third in 3 weeks, an ice cream cone. Kids around you debate whether theirs will be chocolate or strawberry. Vanilla is out, since it's not any fun to use white crayon on white paper. But you think about what else this cone could be. There is way more ice cream in the world than chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla. Settle on butter brickle, that flavor you always see in Carvel that have never tasted. You are a quick learner, so you know better, but you can't stand your picture looking like everyone else's, or even worse, like the teacher's. What is the point of that? Are you at school to become a robot, or as Dad says, to become a person? He says that school is a becoming a person program. You don't understand why you have to go to school to make yourself a person when you're sort of one already. But you are pretty sure that any person becoming program doesn't involve copying everyone else. Besides, at home you have milk, cream, eggs, and butter in the refrigerator, sugar and syrup in the pantry. If you had to, you could fashion a blend of ice cream worthy of the Butterbrickle name. So defend your case with evidence, just as Perry Mason does at 9 o'clock. Dad said you are practically a lawyer. Just write Butterbrickle in large block letters at the top of the page. Mrs. Post gives you and your cone a long, hard look. A really long look. You start to sweat. Large salty drops run off your face and sting your eyes. But it's okay. She replaces the paper on your desk, smiling that never-no smile with only half of her in it. Let her continue around the room, complimenting your classmates, patting an arm here, smoothing a head there. Never mind about that. The kids in the Guppy and Goldfish reading program groups think the word always is a big deal when Mrs. Post writes it on the blackboard as word of the week. In fact, everyone goes around all day slotting the words into conversation. Gracie walks around the room saying, always, always, in a sing-song voice. You are confused. What are you missing here? What is so special about the word always? Wonder about it, but for heaven's sake, don't ask about it. It might show that you are missing yet another skill the other kids have, like using scissors, tying shoes, or making eights. Don't forget the milk. Always remember, do not take milk at snack time. It's February. A winter vacation is over, and for the first time all year, someone is using a word you don't know. It's kind of exciting. Maybe this is where the becoming a person part begins. Mrs. Post hasn't written a word of the week, though. Christopher Myers says the word. He smiles when he says it. You smile too and ask him how to spell it. He says he doesn't know. You are both unsure about the vowels that go in the word. It takes you a while, but you notice that Chris uses the word only around you. His smile, cheerful at first, gets more and more spooky, like an evil doll's. The word begins to feel like the sooty snow drifts ringing the school bus parking lot. It is not just a word, it's a name of some sort, or a substitute for a name. You know what substitute means. When Mother ran out of brown sugar for raisin bran muffins, she mixed plain white sugar with molasses and called it a substitute for brown sugar. Is Christopher making fun of your cooking? The only thing you have ever made and brought to school was a tin of cupcakes for Danielle's birthday. And Chris had 3 of those, so he must have liked them. Who eats 3 of something that they don't like? You ask about the word that night at dinner. You pronounce the word carefully since you can't spell it. Dad slams his juice glass on the table, sloshing some of it over the rim. Mother looks serious, then like she is going to cry. You ask Dad to spell the word. Ignore the shocked look Mother gives him when you ask this. Dad answers you, spells out N-I-G-G-E-R. He tells you why Christopher isn't calling anyone else in the class this name. Mother says to tell Chris to stop it if he calls you the name again. Dad says to hell with that. He tells you to knock Chris's teeth into the next zip code the next time he calls you that name. He tells you it is not a substitute. Nothing like molasses sugar. You are not to let anyone call you this name, even next year in the 2nd grade, or in ballet class, or Sunday school, or on the playground, or anywhere else. This turns out to be the only new lesson you learn all year.